They say some places never truly let you go. Hollow Bay was one of them. Emma Carter's car crept along the narrow, winding road hugging the rocky coastline. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows, and a thick fog was beginning to roll in from the Atlantic, swallowing the cliffs in a cold, gray mist. She gripped the steering wheel tightly, her knuckles whitening. Before we dive into this gripping story, drop a comment below and tell us where you're watching from. And if you love stories packed with mystery and drama, don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button. There's so much more coming your way. It had been over 30 years since she last set foot in this town, her childhood home, a place filled with memories she had desperately tried to forget. Yet here she was, returning not by choice, but by duty. Her mother, once a formidable woman full of life, was now frail and fragile, her health declining rapidly. As Emma reached the weathered wooden gate of the Carter estate, the old house loomed ahead like a ghost from the past. The scent of salt and seaweed mingled with the faint, musty odor of forgotten years. The door creaked open before she could even knock. Her mother's pale face appeared, eyes sharp but tired. "Emma," she whispered, "you're home. But be careful, the fog brings more than cold this time." Emma frowned, unsettled by the warning. What did her mother mean? What secrets had the years buried here? Claire Douglas vanished without a trace, and no one seemed willing to talk. The following morning, the town buzzed with a quiet unease. At the local diner, whispers floated like smoke. Claire Douglas, a young mother known for her kindness, was missing. She'd gone for a walk along the cliffs the night before and never returned. Emma overheard snippets, disappeared into the fog. Like she vanished into thin air. The police say it's probably an accident, but I don't believe it. Her heart pounded. Something about the case stirred an old, familiar knot in her chest. She drove to the police station, hoping for answers but was met with vague reassurances. Detective Mark Reynolds, a man with kind eyes but a guarded demeanor, warned her gently, "This town holds its secrets tight, Emma. Best not to pry too deep." But Emma's resolve hardened. She wasn't going to turn away, not when the fog was swallowing people, and the past was clawing its way back to the surface. Sometimes the dead speak louder than the living. That evening, Emma sat beside her mother's bedside, watching the fragile rise and fall of her chest. The old woman's eyes, still sharp despite the years, locked onto Emma's. "There are things in Hollow Bay, things you don't remember. Things better left buried." Emma's heart tightened. "What do you mean, Mom?" Her mother's hand trembled as she reached under her pillow, pulling out a faded envelope, yellowed with age. "It was meant for you a long time ago. It's from Lillian. Promise me you'll read it carefully. And don't trust the town council." Emma's fingers closed around the envelope. Lillian. The name sent a shiver down her spine. That name belonged to the woman in the letters her father had hidden. Every letter holds a secret, and some secrets can kill. Late into the night, Emma sat at the kitchen table, the envelope open before her. Inside were a handful of letters, the handwriting elegant but frantic. Lillian's voice echoed through the years, revealing a forbidden love, whispered threats, and hints of a conspiracy involving the town's most respected families. Emma's eyes scanned the words. "They watch us from the shadows. If they find these, it will be the end for both of us." Her mind raced. Who was they? And why had her father kept these hidden? A single photograph can rewrite history. The next morning, Emma found an old leather-bound photo album in the attic. Among the faded images, one photograph stopped her cold. It showed a young woman, unmistakably Lillian, standing beside a man she didn't recognize. But the most chilling part was the look in the man's eyes. Cold, calculating, and dangerous. On the back of the photo, scrawled in a child's handwriting, were the words, "Daddy and Lillian." Emma's blood ran cold. Was that her father? What had happened between them? And how did it connect to the missing women? In Hollow Bay, loyalty is a double-edged sword. Emma stepped into the town square, feeling the weight of wary eyes on her. The disappearance had reopened old wounds. The townspeople were divided. Some wanted to protect their own, some demanded answers, and others clung desperately to silence. At the local cafe, Emma overheard a heated conversation. "They've been hiding the truth for too long," a woman hissed. "Don't poke the bear, or you'll get swallowed whole," warned an older man. Emma realized, in Hollow Bay, the past wasn't just history. It was a living, breathing force, and it was watching her every move. Some warnings come from the most unexpected places and the most unsettling voices. The diner smelled of burnt coffee and stale smoke, a place that hadn't changed much since Emma's youth. She slid onto a cracked vinyl booth, her fingers tracing the chipped edge of the table. The morning fog had lifted, but an uneasy chill clung to the air. She wasn't alone for long. A man sat down opposite her, eyes shadowed beneath a worn baseball cap. His voice was low and rough, almost a whisper. "You shouldn't be here, Emma." Startled, she stared at him. "Do I know you?" He smiled thinly, pulling back his hood to reveal sharp features, the lines of someone who had lived too many winters alone. "I know things. Things about Hollow Bay that people pay dearly to keep quiet." Emma's heart pounded. "Why warn me?" "Because you're already in deeper than you realize. The disappearance, it's not random. And if you keep digging, you might become the next secret the town buries." He slid a folded piece of paper across the table, an address scrawled in hurried handwriting. "Go there. Find the answers before they find you." Before she could ask more, he was gone, swallowed by the din of the morning rush, leaving Emma with a cold fear that clawed at her spine. The ghosts of first love never truly leave us, especially when tied to betrayal. That night, the address led Emma to the old chapel at the edge of town, a forgotten relic surrounded by brambles and thick shadows. Inside, the scent of damp wood and candle wax filled the air. She found a dusty box beneath the pulpit, filled with letters and photographs, remnants of a secret she hadn't known she was part of. As she read, memories flooded back. The stolen kisses under autumn leaves, the promises whispered under starry skies. But beneath the sweetness lay a bitter truth. Her first love, Daniel, had vanished the same year she left town, leaving nothing but unanswered questions. One letter cut through the silence. "I never meant to hurt you, Emma. But some secrets are too dangerous to tell." Her chest tightened. What had Daniel been hiding? And was his disappearance connected to the darkness creeping through Hollow Bay? Power, secrecy, and lies, the pillars that held the town's darkest heart. Emma's investigation brought her to the town archives, a dusty, dimly lit room guarded by an elderly librarian with sharp eyes. Piecing together old newspaper clippings and town records, Emma uncovered the existence of a secret society, the Hollow Bay Order, founded decades ago by the town's elite. They controlled everything: politics, business, even the local police. The society had thrived in silence, enforcing a brutal code of loyalty and silence. Whispers of disappearances, threats, and retribution were buried deep beneath layers of history. A photograph caught Emma's eye, a group portrait with her father among them, smiling coldly beside the town's mayor. A chill settled over her. The past wasn't just alive, it was watching, waiting. The voice of the vanished speaks through pages soaked in fear and courage. After days of searching, Emma found Claire Douglas' journal in a hidden compartment of her abandoned house. The first page was soaked with rain, but the words were clear. Claire wrote of late-night phone calls, threatening notes, and shadowy figures following her. She had uncovered the society's involvement in illegal land deals and unexplained disappearances, and had planned to expose them. Emma's hands trembled as she read Claire's last entry. "If anything happens to me, look for Lillian's letters and follow the path they reveal." The lines blurred as tears welled up. Claire's courage became Emma's burden, and her only hope. Sometimes, those sworn to protect are shackled by secrets. Emma returned to the police station, clutching Claire's journal. Detective Mark Reynolds sat behind his cluttered desk, eyes flickering with unease when he saw the book. "Detective, you have to believe me. Claire was onto something. The society, it's real. And people are disappearing." Mark leaned back, rubbing his temples. "Emma, I want to help. I really do. But this town, it's tangled. I'm torn between duty and what's right." Emma's voice softened. "What do you mean?" He looked at her, pain in his eyes. "My father was part of that order. I grew up hearing things I wish I hadn't. If I push too hard, I might lose everything. Emma's heart ached. The weight of history pressed down on them both. We have to be careful, but we can't stay silent. Mark nodded slowly. All right, I'll share what I can, but trust no one else. The fog wasn't just weather. It was a curtain hiding the town's darkest secrets. That night, Emma couldn't sleep. The fog pressed against the windows like cold breath, thick and suffocating. She paced the room, the journal open on her lap. Why did Claire disappear? She wondered. And why now? What stirred the order after all these years? Suddenly, a soft knock shattered the silence. Heart pounding, Emma moved to the door. No one was there, only a small, folded note pinned to the wood. Stop digging or join the lost. Her hands shook. Fear and determination warred inside her. I can't stop now. Not when everything depends on the truth. Some doors lead to darkness we weren't meant to see. The note's warning only fueled Emma's resolve. She followed clues from Claire's journal to the town's old lighthouse, abandoned and crumbling. Inside, beneath loose floorboards, she found a narrow passageway descending into cold, damp darkness. With only her flashlight, Emma stepped down into the unknown. Her breath echoed in the tunnel. Every step felt heavier, like the past itself was dragging her down. At the end, a small chamber revealed stacks of papers, photographs, and artifacts, a secret archive of the Order's deeds. Emma's fingers trembled as she touched a blood-stained document. Her mind screamed, "This is the proof." But what horrors have they hidden here? The deepest wounds are inflicted by those we trust most. Back in town, Emma confided in Mark about the passage and documents. Mark's expression darkened. This changes everything. The Order's reach goes deeper than I thought. Suddenly his phone buzzed. A message popped up, "Stop now or she dies." Mark looked up, conflicted. I think someone's watching us. I want to protect you, but..." Emma's voice was firm. "We're in this together, no matter what." As Mark left to check his sources, Emma's mind raced. Who can I trust? How many are involved? The line between friend and foe blurred dangerously. When the storm comes, it doesn't just wash away the dirt, it reveals what's been buried beneath. Outside, a fierce wind howled, rattling the windows of Emma's small apartment. Rain lashed against the panes in relentless sheets, turning the streets into shimmering rivers of reflected light. Inside, Emma sat hunched over the stolen documents, each one a thread unraveling the dark tapestry of Hollow Bay. Her fingers trembled as she read of bribes, threats, and disappearances spanning decades. A sudden crash of thunder shook the building. For a moment, Emma thought she saw a shadow move across the window, quick, fleeting, like a warning. She wrapped herself tighter in a worn blanket, heart hammering. They're coming for me. But I won't run. In the dead of night, truths whispered in the dark can be louder than any scream. At midnight, Emma met Mark at the edge of the fog-covered harbor. The moon was a pale ghost behind thick clouds, casting silver shards across the water. Mark's breath puffed in the cold air. I've confirmed something. Several of the town council members are tied to the Order, including the mayor. Emma's eyes narrowed. So the people meant to protect us are the ones keeping us captive. He sighed, the weight of years pressing down. There's more. Claire's disappearance wasn't random. She found evidence that could topple them. Emma looked out over the dark water, the distant wail of a foghorn a haunting lullaby. Then we have to finish what she started, no matter the cost. When power meets fear, even the bravest hearts can falter. In the dimly lit back room of a rundown pub, Emma and Mark overheard hushed voices. Through the cracked window, they saw men in expensive suits, faces shadowed beneath fedoras. They want us to stay quiet, one man said. Make an example of the girl who's been nosing around. Emma's stomach churned. The room smelled of stale whiskey and cigar smoke, the air thick with menace. Mark whispered, they're planning something. We have to warn the others. A creak behind them froze them both. Emma's heart seized, footsteps approaching fast, deliberate. In Hollow Bay, the line between hunter and hunted is razor thin. The door slammed open. Emma grabbed Mark's arm, pulling him into the shadows. Their breaths came sharp and fast as heavy boots thundered past. They ducked through a side alley, the rain soaking through their clothes, the cold biting deep. Emma's mind raced. We're targets now. No one is safe. As they reached the edge of town, a pair of glowing headlights sliced through the fog. A black SUV screeched to a halt beside them. A voice barked through the rain, "Get in. Now." Emma hesitated. Was this rescue or trap? Mark's grip tightened. "Trust me." With a last glance at the town she thought she knew, Emma climbed in, heart pounding, the shadows closing in behind them. Sometimes, the only way forward is through the darkest shadows. The black SUV's engine growled as it tore through winding roads shrouded in mist. Emma's fingers clenched the edge of the seat, knuckles white. Outside, the trees blurred into a ghostly tunnel, their twisted branches clawing at the sky. Mark sat beside her, eyes scanning the rearview mirror. "We're going somewhere safe. But it won't be easy." Emma swallowed hard, her mind a whirl of questions. "Who sent this car? Can I trust anyone anymore?" Her voice trembled. "Why help me? What's your stake in all this?" Mark's jaw tightened. "Because I can't let Hollow Bay destroy another life. And because I owe Claire." The weight behind those words hung heavy in the cramped space, the past and present colliding in silence. Even in exile, the heart fights to hold on to hope. They arrived at a secluded cabin deep in the forest, hidden beneath thick pines and veils of fog. The air smelled of damp earth and pine needles, a stark contrast to the suffocating tension of Hollow Bay. Inside, the cabin was sparse but warm, a fire crackling softly in the hearth. Emma sank into a worn armchair, exhaustion washing over her like a tide. Mark handed her a steaming mug. "It's not much, but it's safe." Emma stared into the flames, memories flickering like shadows. Is safety even possible now? Her thoughts drifted to Claire's journal, the secrets it held, and the price paid for knowing too much. She whispered to herself, "I have to be stronger than fear." Every truth uncovered is another thread in the tapestry of betrayal. That night, Emma pored over the documents from the hidden chamber. Each paper revealed layers of corruption, illegal land deals, silent threats, and names that echoed through the town's power corridors. Mark read aloud from a particularly damning report. They funneled money through charities to launder profits from illegal mining. Emma's voice was tight. No wonder Claire wanted to expose them. They control everything. Her fingers paused over a photograph. A young Claire standing beside a man Emma didn't recognize, his face obscured in shadow. Mark frowned. "Who's this?" Emma's heart skipped. "I don't know. But whoever he is, he's part of this." When the past calls, it brings with it the danger of unspoken truths. Just as dawn tinged the sky with pale pink, Emma's phone vibrated, a number she didn't recognize. Her pulse quickened. She answered hesitantly. "Emma," a distorted voice whispered, "you're closer than you think. But some stones are better left unturned." The line went dead. Mark's eyes darkened. "They know where you are. We need a plan." Emma's mind raced. "The walls are closing in. But I can't stop now, not when I'm this close." She met Mark's gaze. "We fight. Sometimes the dead hold the keys to the living salvation or doom." Emma sat by the cabin window, watching fog swirl over the dark forest. Her thoughts drifted to Claire, brave, curious Claire, taken too soon. Suddenly, a soft tapping at the door startled her. Mark opened it to reveal an elderly woman, wrapped in a thick coat, eyes sharp and wary. "I'm Eleanor," the woman said quietly. "Claire's grandmother." Emma's heart skipped. "You knew Claire well?" Eleanor nodded, stepping inside. "More than most. And I've been waiting for someone to finish her work." As Eleanor settled by the fire, she pulled from her bag a faded photo album. "There are things Claire never told you. Things I promised I'd keep safe, until the time was right." Emma leaned in, sensing a turning point. "This is bigger than I imagined." Within forgotten pages lie the whispered cries of truth. The album was thick with yellowed photographs, letters, and newspaper clippings. Eleanor flipped through them slowly. "This," she said, pointing to a grainy picture, is Hollow Bay's first council meeting, but look closely. Emma's eyes narrowed. In the background, a man's face hovered almost ghost-like, his eyes cold and unreadable. Who is he? Emma asked. Unknown to most. But he was the Order's founder. A man who built his empire on silence and fear. Emma felt a chill creep up her spine. This town's roots run deeper than corruption, into something darker. Trust is a fragile thing, easily broken, dangerously misplaced. Emma and Mark's partnership strained under pressure. Late nights poring over clues bred frustration. Mark slammed his fist on the table during one heated argument. We can't just waltz into the lion's den without backup. Emma's eyes flashed fire. And wait until they silence us both? We have to act before it's too late. Mark's shoulders sagged. I'm scared, Emma. More than you know. Her voice softened. Me too. But fear won't save Claire, or the others. They exchanged a long look, a fragile truce forming between them. Some places remember secrets long after the people have gone. That evening, Eleanor led Emma to an old cellar beneath her home, dark, damp, and smelling of forgotten years. Claire came here often, Eleanor whispered, searching for answers no one else dared seek. Emma's flashlight revealed old crates, journals, and a locked metal box. Her hands trembled as she found the key hidden beneath a loose stone. Inside the box, a stack of letters tied with a crimson ribbon waited, correspondence between town officials and unknown figures. Emma's heart raced. This is the proof we need. But will it be enough to topple a legacy built on shadows? Sometimes the past speaks only through the quiet voice of memory. Emma carefully untied the crimson ribbon and opened the fragile diary. The pages smelled faintly of old paper and secrets. Her eyes scanned Claire's handwriting, sometimes hurried, sometimes trembling with fear. March 14th, they're watching me. I don't know who I can trust anymore. The Order's grip is tighter than I thought. But I have to keep going. For the town, for the truth. Emma's fingers paused on the next entry. April 2nd, I met someone today. A stranger who said he wants to help. Could this be the break I need? Or another trap? Emma whispered aloud. Claire was so alone in this. When silence breaks, the danger grows louder. Later that night, Emma awoke to a soft creak outside the cabin door. Heart pounding, she grabbed a flashlight and crept to the window. A shadow flickered in the fog. Emma, a hushed voice called. It was Mark. Something's wrong, he said, eyes wide with alarm. The Order's men, they found us. We don't have much time. Emma swallowed hard. They're closing in. But this time, I'm ready. In a game of shadows, the hunted must learn to disappear. The forest around the cabin was thick with fog and danger. Emma and Mark moved silently, ducking behind trees, the distant sound of vehicles rumbling through the undergrowth. Mark whispered, They're searching for us. We need to split up, it's the only way to throw them off. Emma's heart screamed no, but she nodded. Be careful. As they parted, Emma felt the cold bite of loneliness, but also a fierce spark of determination. Sometimes, uncovering the truth demands the greatest sacrifice. Emma hid beneath a thick tangle of roots, breath shallow, every sound amplified in the stillness. Memories of Claire flashed in her mind, her courage, her sacrifice. Emma's voice was steady as she vowed, I will finish this. For Claire. For Hollow Bay. The distant footsteps grew louder. The hunt was far from over. Sometimes, even a whisper can save a soul or doom it. Emma crouched under the twisted roots, her breath shallow, every heartbeat echoing in her ears. The fog clung to the forest like a veil of ghosts. A voice floated through the stillness. Emma. She froze. It's me, Mark. She blinked, unsure. Is it really him? Or a trap? Then came a sound she recognized, the 3 gentle taps Mark always made when checking in. She emerged slowly, heart racing. You scared me half to death. Mark pulled her into an embrace. His voice cracked. I thought I lost you. Emma whispered, I thought I lost myself. Their foreheads touched, and for a brief moment, the forest faded, the fear, the danger, the pain. Just two people, broken but alive, clinging to something real in a world built on lies. Truth can shatter the walls we've built to survive. Back at Eleanor's cabin, the group gathered, the firelight dancing on their weary faces. Emma held Claire's diary in her lap like a relic. "I think I'm starting to understand why she died," she said softly. "She knew too much. And she wouldn't stop." Eleanor's eyes glistened. Claire believed in fighting with truth, even when it broke her. Emma looked around the room. "If we release this, all of it, the town will erupt. Families will fall apart. Reputations will be destroyed." Mark's voice was low. "Are we ready for that?" Emma's voice wavered, eyes locked on the fire. "No. But we owe it to the people who never had a voice. Like Claire. Sometimes you must walk into the fire to burn away the rot." They drove in silence. Hollow Bay loomed ahead, cold and unwelcoming, its streets familiar but hostile. Emma whispered, "I used to dream of leaving this place. Now I'm coming back to break it." Mark reached for her hand. "You're not alone anymore." At the town square, protesters gathered. Rumors had begun spreading. Some signs read, "Where is the truth?" Others simply bore Claire's name. Emma stepped from the car, clutching a folder of Claire's evidence. Her knees buckled slightly, but she forced herself forward. Eleanor walked beside her, cane in one hand, determination in the other. "This town took my granddaughter," she said through gritted teeth. "Let's see what it does with her truth." In the end, the truth doesn't need an army. It only needs a voice brave enough to speak. Inside the old town hall, the council members waited. Cold stares, thin smiles, the smell of polished wood and old secrets. Emma stood before them, shaking but resolute. She opened the folder, letting the documents spill across the table. Photos, letters, ledger books, Claire's notes. "Claire didn't die in an accident," she said. "She was silenced, because she uncovered the rot beneath this town. And now it ends." The room fell into stunned silence. Councilman Rourke sneered. "Do you really think anyone will believe a girl like you over a legacy like ours?" Emma's voice didn't falter. "They don't have to believe me. They'll believe her." She held up Claire's diary. Outside, the protesters' chants grew louder. Chapter 35, Claire's voice. Even in death, the truth finds a way to breathe. As the council room erupted in confusion and fury, Emma heard a voice in her memory, soft, determined. Claire's. "I never planned to be a martyr. I only wanted people to care again. About what's right. About each other." Emma stood taller. "I have emails, bank records, and testimonies from people your system failed. We've sent copies to national outlets. You can't bury this." One councilwoman broke down in tears. "My God, what have we done?" Mark stepped beside Emma. "It's over. Step down. Or face charges." Councilman Rourke's jaw clenched. "You don't know who you're messing with." Emma met his stare. "No, you don't. Sometimes, justice doesn't roar, it crumbles the walls silently." The fallout was swift. Within days, 3 officials resigned. Press followed. Local news exploded with the story, "Whistleblower's diary brings town to its knees." But peace did not come easily. Emma sat on her porch, watching reporters swarm her street. Mark handed her a cup of tea. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "I should be. But I just feel hollow." He sat beside her. "You lost a part of yourself in that war. It's okay to grieve." Tears welled in her eyes. "She was the best of us. And now she's gone." Mark took her hand. "She left her fire behind. In you. The dead leave us more than memories, they leave us the strength to go on." Eleanor handed Emma a sealed envelope. "She wrote this a week before everything." Emma opened it carefully, her hands trembling. "Dear Emma, if you're reading this, it means I failed to outrun the darkness, but I never stopped believing in the light. You were always stronger than you knew. And I knew, somehow, that if I couldn't finish this, you would. Don't let this town turn you cold. Let it remind you why you fought in the first place. Love still matters. Truth still matters. even when it costs everything. Yours always, for Emma sobbed quietly, the words wrapping around her like a warm embrace. After fire comes renewal. After loss comes life. Weeks later, Hollow Bay began to shift. A community center was opened in Claire's name. Whistleblower protections were passed. Families reunited. And the silence that once haunted the town was gone. Emma stood by the ocean cliffs where Claire used to hike, the wind brushing her hair. Mark joined her. So, what now? Emma smiled faintly. We keep telling the truth. Even when it hurts. Even when it costs. Because someone has to. He nodded. And if we fall? She turned to him, eyes shining. Then someone else picks it up. Just like I did. They watched the sun dip into the sea, two souls scarred by truth, but no longer alone. Thanks for watching. If you're hooked on gripping stories like this, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more thrilling tales. Your support means the world to us. With love and gratitude, I invite you to join our community for more captivating content. Subscribe now for more stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Thank you.